We're doing a little bit of time travel here because this video is coming out for the embargo of the lens we're going to talk about today, but we're actually shooting here right after Calgary Stampede in the middle of July, the greatest outdoor show on earth, and one of our favorite pastimes is just to discover the detritus that's left behind after this colossal event. And what is this lens that has just been released? Well, it is this right here, this cute little thing, the Sigma 12mm f1.4 DC. That is right, this is an APS-C style lens. This is going to give us about an 18mm full frame equivalent field of view with roughly the depth of field of an f2 aperture. And if you're looking for a brand new ultra wide APS-C lens, you can get this in Sony E mount, Canon RF mount, or Fujifilm X mount. So let's get back to shooting some hay because Calgary. It's always nice to see new APS-C glass being made for camera systems because I feel like a lot of companies are kind of leaving them behind. You don't see as much attention. We don't really have a lot of APS-C cameras. I wish I did, especially for testing purposes. We need more. So a great way to check that out, where I'm going to go do, is head to kh.com and see what kind of APS-C cameras are available for sale. I could easily just throw in Sony E mount APS-C and it's going to bring up everything they have in stock, and they do have a lot. Maybe get myself an A6700. The fact of the matter is I can find everything I need there. I know exactly what condition it's going to be in. Is there a scratch on the lens? It tells you all that stuff, as well as just an overall general idea of what the condition is. And if I'm not happy, they have a generous return policy, and most items have a 180-day warranty. So if you're looking for a brand new APS-C body or anything else, definitely go to kh.com, but don't snipe those products from me. I need something for testing. I mean, buy them after I get what I'm anyways. Go to kh.com, they're fantastic. That's why they're PetaPixel's official pre-owned camera gear partner. All right, bud, so let's talk all about the handling on this new lens there. By the way, Canadians don't really say a boot. Like, that's not a thing. We say about like everybody else. Not a big deal anyway. So handling on this lens, it's super compact, but you do get a 62mm filter there, bud. Also, this is really lightweight. You see, for Sony E mount like I'm using today, this lens only weighs 225 grams. That's like 2/3 of a can of beer, bud. So that's pretty lightweight. Like, you could carry that all day long. I'd sling a twofer on my back, walk it all day long. This is nothing compared to that. But if I do spill a beer on this lens, weather sealed. I got rubber mount. These things are really well built. No problems, no worries there. And you know what there, bud? I gotta say, this is a pretty classy lens because we're getting an aperture ring on here, really smooth like that. I got an auto setting, and this manual focus ring, I could find this after a 6-pack, no problem, and it's actually really well damped, which is kind of like my pants after a twofer.
That's dampened.
No, it's damp. Oh, damp. You're right. It's dampened. No more yeehaws. Being all this window art, you'd think that this is like a Western style diner, but no, this is Singapore Sam's, a Chinese restaurant legend in Calgary. What terrible photos. I'm not inspired. I'm not inspired. Classy times we're leaving behind. So here I am standing beside Calgary's largest puddle, but it's just dirty AF, so I'm not really gonna get a shot that I like, but why don't we talk about autofocus? It seems like a nice time for that. The autofocus on this lens is a classic stepping motor, but it's actually doing a really good job because the elements in here are so small and lightweight. I'm finding focusing to be reliable, quick, and quiet from near to far. As you can see here, plenty snappy enough for street shooting and of course the architecture and landscape that you might mostly use this lens for. Okay, bokeh time. Let's talk about this. So, Sigma in the past have actually done a really good job paying quite good attention to nice bokeh in their lenses, and this is no exception. I mean, first off, this is an ultra-wide lens, but it has a fairly fast aperture, so shallow depth of field will happen occasionally. If we look at the specular highlights, you'll notice here a little messy, a little bit of a soap bubble effect, but nothing beyond average. Like, it's pretty good, and like a bit of a polygonal shape when you close down, cat's eye effect when you're shooting wide open, but overall what this does give us is a fairly smooth looking background, not really frenetic, not really distracting. So for the rare situations where you are going to get some out of focus areas in the background, it's actually quite pleasing. So I gotta say, it hasn't been a very sunny day today, but it did finally break out. So of course you rush to do a flare test and see what it's like. This lens is doing a great job. I mean, you can see here, first shooting wide open, we're not losing a lot of contrast. I didn't see any ghosting at all, even stopping down. And look at the Sunstars, they're not bad, I mean, that is thanks to the fact that this only has a 9-bladed aperture and it's got a little bit of a polygonal look to the bokeh, but it does give us a pretty dramatic looking Sunstar. LoCA, that longitudinal chromatic aberration where you get color fringing in the foreground and background autofocus areas, is really hard to get rid of in post and you don't want it. Not such a big deal on this lens for a couple of reasons. First off, the LoCA is naturally fairly minimal. You can see here a little bit of shift in color, but it's very minor. But also, just given the fact that this is such an ultra-wide lens and most of the time you're gonna have tons of depth of field, it's just not really gonna be an issue, so don't worry about it. So look, I wouldn't call this like a close-up lens or macro lens by any stretch. I mean, it's 1 to 8.4 magnification ratio. It's terrible, but you can get very close physically to your subjects, and as long as you can make that work and keep your shadow off the subject, you can actually do some very interesting close-up shots where you push the background far away and get the entire building here. And shooting at f1.4, you'll notice it's still really sharp up close, so it's kind of fun for the occasional detail shot. All right, let's talk about sharpness on this lens, because this is an easy talk. This lens is sharp. Look at the center of our test charts here, shooting f1.4. You can see plenty of detail. Stopping down here, I don't really notice much difference. f4, we're getting like ever so slightly better contrast shutters, but it's so minor. And then I thought the corners would be crap on a small, compact, ultra-wide like this, but look, they're actually very decent at 1.4, certainly usable. We do notice a little bit of that vignetting going away. Things improve a little bit stopping down, but overall, I shoot this lens wide open all day.
All right, Jordan here to talk about the video performance on the Sigma 12mm, and this is an absolutely perfect focal length if you want to do a little bit of vlogging and don't have a DJI Pocket 3. The field of view is really wonderful on this, and in terms of breathing, where you see the actual field of view change as you shift focus from minimum to infinity, it's fairly well controlled on this lens. There is a little bit of movement there, but certainly not enough that it's going to be distracting. If you're looking for an ultra-wide effects lens, or like we're doing right now, a vlogging lens, this is a great choice, especially for the price.
I don't know, I think if you're shooting an APS-C censored camera and you're looking for an ultra-wide lens, this is pretty fun. Like, I've enjoyed everything about it today. It's super compact, incredibly lightweight, still well built, focus is quick, flare resistant, nice Sunstars, super sharp, pretty bokeh. I mean, there's nothing really to complain about on this lens. It's a fantastic little piece of kit. And frankly, there aren't that many choices either. I mean, third-party wise, yes, you do have a lot of other 12mm lenses, but they tend to be f1.8s or f2s, for example. Sony make a really nice 11mm, but again, it's not fast like this is. About the only competition that comes to mind that's quite close is the Viltrox 13mm f1.4. Similar focal length, similar aperture, also has autofocusing, stepping motor. I haven't personally played with that lens, so I can't speak to it, but this is only a little bit more money, and I do know how good this lens is overall. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this and helps you decide if this little compact 12mm lens is right for you. Leave your comments down below. We always appreciate it. We love to take your feedback and talk about it on the PetaPixel podcast. Check that out on this exact same channel or all your favorite podcasting apps, and do consider getting a PetaPixel.com membership. There's so many rewards now. I mean, you get discounts on our merch store, you get discounts on KEH.com, 5% off a lot of the pre-owned gear that you would buy. You get that discount as a PetaPixel.com membership. It'll pay for itself really quickly. $3 a month, $30 a year. It's a great thing to do, and it helps us keep our projects going forward. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you soon with more on PetaPixel.